and strong leaders on that squad. So they're going to need them heading into this game because they are a map down here in this series. They're going to have to reverse sweep. Let's see how they go.
It's time to find out if everything you say is true, Pilski. Can VERTEX manage to put to bear a nice game here against Renegades, or will they just get run over once again and knocked down into that lower bracket? VERTEX starting off on the T side. Bit of util to play with as well, and they're going to put that Molotov straight into sandbags, clear that area of the map out. Renegades not concerned about that at all. And they'll start to even rotate the majority of their forces over toward A here. They've completely left B. Inns is working his way across, and the rest of the lads are coming up through the ramp, which is not a position that I think the VERTEX lads will be expecting much to come from. And indeed, it works out perfectly. Zico gets a couple, Alistair with the nade, another, and overall the trades are working to perfection for Renegades. It's a little bit isolated here, but the defuse is tapped. And the swing will come through inevitably from Alistair to put VERTEX to the end of their misery in round one of Vertigo. That is 3 from 3 pistols for Renegades.
You don't often see a double kit on the CT side pistol, by the way, but I guess that is a side effect of Renegades kind of trying to counteract what is a high percentage pistol from a lot of teams. VERTEX going for those wall of smokes across A and setting it up through the scaffold control, as well as executing on towards that A site from ramp. But Renegades looking to play bomb denial with those HE nades, and they did get a frag. Not taking out the planter, but still picking up the kill is not too bad after all. VERTEX, they got that bomb plant down, so they're going for this force buy in here on second round. Boost up over the top as Apoc Dud trying to peer over, trying to find one of the CTs, just overextending a little bit and find the first frag for Renegades, or for VERTEX rather.
Well, Hats is a little bit isolated right now over toward B, so that might be a potential avenue for VERTEX to find the opening kill. MP9's out for Renegades, makes their buy look a little bit weaker, but when you're taking close range angles like that, it's going to work. Hats opens up on the Roffelco, and once again, VERTEX have a numbers disadvantage.
Smoke missed though. That's not going to stall VERTEX out for much longer. Could have been an extra 20 seconds off the clock there for Renegades, but actually, with that smoke not connecting on towards the stairs, VERTEX feel confident enough to prod and poke for an additional pick. We'll go for a duel over there.
Not going to find it though.
Yeah, they're going back towards ramp, but they're smoked off, so seems like at every turn, VERTEX is just not really finding the clean engagement that they're looking for.
Renegades reading them like a book, I suppose, getting that util down as necessary. Malta behind the smoke doesn't actually manage to get the better of PZ, and Hats going on a bit of an expedition, did not check behind him, so it's on to Zico to defend this B bomb site from the rampage now. The VERTEX is going to try and send in his direction. They lined up, but he wasn't able to connect more than just the headshot onto Addict. Inns is going to go quickly. Can't potentially deny the bomb plant here. Race not able to cover off. He was flashed. Inns nearly makes the play, but Alistair will do enough, and he's going to sit that defuse. 5 seconds. PZ is not going to get there in time. It's unfortunate. But in the end, Renegades will win the round. Alistair does lose his life. It's an expensive round for Renegades.
For sure,
but it's a round nonetheless.
For sure, you force if you're VERTEX here. Bomb plant down. 5 CTs taken out of the equation. You finish off that round with a rifle. They're going to keep the pressure on here. And actually, they end up with what looks like a better buy than what Renegades can put together, Juwan. So, there's still rounds here left to play. See if VERTEX can make up for not quite getting that last round across the line.
Very close. But it also started so well for Renegades. So, you could maybe make the argument that they should have never even gotten that close to begin with. But they did well to do so. Malta once again is going to play the same position with that MP9. Hide behind the smoke. Looks like a very similar setup to the round. Again, VERTEX are just going to try and probe towards the B bomb side as well. Who's going to get boosted up? Roffelco's probably said, I can't see, so Addict, you better do it. Actually, he got nose surgery, not eye surgery, but...
You can't smell. That is a very important factor. We're talking about counter-strike. You better sniff out those frags, and Addict's done just that.
Little rotation coming across from Zico. Once again, he's going to have to be the one to make the difference over on B. Inns a bit preoccupied on the rotation. Bomb plant hasn't gone down yet. It's still rotating in, so Apoc Dud is eventually going to get there, but he's going to lose a fair bit of HP to Zico on the way in. though the CTs are looking a little bit weaker right now than what they might have liked. But, with the M4A1S in hand, finds an opportunity onto Roffelco, taps all over the place. So many low HP players in this round, but Renegades not finding the time to send it. Malta, again, eventually does get the better of Addict, but there was a few whiffed shots, and Renegades, I think, are going to give this one now. Just felt like an awkward retake in the end there for Renegades with their players so low, they didn't really feel like they could commit to it, I suppose, and eventually it goes the way of VERTEX.
Well, while we get this save coming out here, bit of an update. You did have Order trying to put together a little bit of a comeback there on Vertigo, but LFO, ex-Direwolves, whatever you want to call them, are up 1-0 in that initial series over there on the B stream. So continuing their great run that they showed us in towards DreamHack Open 46, they have at least converted that first map victory over Order, which, I mean, I think is within the realms of what we expect if we're going from form tournament to tournament most recently. As we cast our eyes back to this game, though, Renegades not wanting to let control of this game go by the wayside with those two guns that they saved over. They will force up here, and Hats is actually going to get his Deagle spam on in towards ramp and find the first pick, as well as get an AK.
Yeah, that's big news. Doesn't look like he's going to have an easy time of getting back out, but even still, he's a fighting chance with that AK in hand. There's a boost going on at A. Alistair hiding behind sandbags, so well covered on this side of the map.
Vertex go for Brace trying to prod in towards middle. They need to try and find something somewhere. But it doesn't really feel like there's any gaps in the defense right now. Pressure over towards this A ramp position. Double nade onto sandbags. It's going to put Alistair within an inch of his life.
Tap, 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 tap. Apokdad not going to find anything though. And CSGO may well get the timing on to Brace. A bit of an awkward fight with the FAMAS, but he gets it done. Alistair slain on the exit. There's still a numbers advantage for Renegades, and he's going to start to look for a bit of info. Timing not too great for him. Molotov in hand. He'll be decked by PZ, who gets a double onto the A-bomb site, which swings the round back in the favor of VERTEX. Renegades did a lot of work to get it to this position, but it seems to have fallen aside.
Oh, looked convertible. Hats with that little gap in the smoke felt like he might have a timing to be able to make that round winnable, but it's covered off nicely. And VERTEX, C4 down, 3 players alive. Looks like they're going to convert here. And with the amount of cash I'm looking at in the bank for Roffelco and PZ, and the fact that they're potentially heading into an anti-eco with 1 gun up for Renegades, they're actually off to a fairly good start here on T side of Vertigo.
Renegades will maintain control of 1 AK, but that's not really going to give them too many options in the next round.
We were talking about Inferno, how they just couldn't get off to the right start, VERTEX, until they finally found those 3 rounds in a row. Not the case here. They are already trading back and forth. Hopefully this is going to allow them to pick up momentum and build some confidence. You're already seeing some great shots being hit by a couple of the individuals on VERTEX, but we said it before, it's going to take more than a couple. They need a solid across-the-board performance. Individual players carrying is not good enough to put the Renegades down.
No, certainly not. Siko's in the right spot to make this, or AK have some impact though. There's a bit of a probe going on at the bottom of ramp. I feel like he needs to sort of get into this round early on in the piece if there's going to be a chance for Renegades, you know. Kind of needs to come off the back of an opening frag from Siko with that AK, and then maybe a nice rotate across to a bomb site that's being hit. Full USPs across the rest of the cohort. And it's actually mid that VERTEX have opted to go towards. So Siko might get a man here onto Apokdad. Not quite though. Nice little shoulder
sharp,
peek.
Tom.
I think he was the standout, to be honest, on map number 1. For
You're more addict, yeah.
True. Well, now it's just USPs to play with the Renegades. Although Alistair has managed to retrieve the AK, he has no armor. Apparently the USPs are good enough. Roffelco is going to go down to Hats. But eventually, the B-bomb site does get cracked open. Still some damage being done by Renegades, though. And they've got themselves another AK. So, all things considered, that's probably a win for Renegades.
Yeah, that's really good. That's definitely going to help them out in terms of buying up the utility or buying the ult. I just love the observer continually like switching towards ins. Like, okay, he's dead now and switching off, and then he was still alive. He's just switching back and forth. Like, come on, man. How long does it take these oceanic players to just get an anti-eco frag? We got there in the end. That's what matters. Don't know what it is about this region, Jordan, but anti-ecos, for some reason, very hard.
Yeah, I suppose so. There's a few teams I feel like that have kind of sorted it out.
That's true. We've grown a lot.
Yes. It used to be a running meme. Like there was every time a pistol round would be won, there would be people just spamming AUCS, AUCS, AUCS.
My favorite of that, I can't remember. I think it was Road to Rio, where we had like that game between Order and Avant, who are now ex-Direwolves, at least the core of that team, where they went 1-for-1, like almost the whole half, like 12 rounds in a row.
Bit of a mess, really.
Well,
but we do have guns out for Renegades, so this will be, I think, really the starting point. It feels like of Vertigo, where we finally get a proper gun round on both sides.
Hmm. Well, that's kind of bolstered up by, you look at Ins and Malta, who are holding onto those AKs. They're able to have access to a full belt of utility and kits, as well as a bit of extra money in the tank for later on. VERTEX, they're taking a very passive approach to this round. It feels like they're trying to bleed the utility out of Renegades. And then as they feel comfortable enough, they're starting to throw some retake utility flashes to try to help them take scaffold over. They're pushing the CTs back, trying to limit their info. Maybe they can try and take secret here, and we'll see what they go for from there. Is this going to be an A execute, or are they just going to try to take the info off the CTs and play accordingly from there?
Well, there is a lot of util still in the back pocket of Renegades. A few Molotovs and smokes. One of them was just used in scaffold, and another smoke just popped down in front of the A bomb site to see if Alistair can try to find some info over the top of it. He's not seeing a whole lot. How long is 30 seconds left for VERTEX?
Oh.
He managed to get a bit of a freebie onto in, spamming through the wall, but that's not going to get them into the bomb site. Alistair is here, waiting with the AWP. The flashes are good. They put him off the line, and in fact, they put him down as well. That is beautiful from VERTEX. All the angles covered off. Rolfco gets the bomb down, and Renegades on the CT side of Vertigo are again showing that tendency to look a little bit awkward.
Great really from VERTEX is exactly what it is. They didn't feel like they needed to force the issue there towards ramp at all. They bided their time in the early round. They bait out a lot of that CT side utility, and then they throw structured utility to be able to complete that retake on the key part of the map, in towards scaffold, in towards ramp. What started out clean, though, is started to come apart at the hinges there. Sicko manages to take 3 guns off the tees at the tail end of that round. So that's going to be taxing to the T-side economy, but the good news for VERTEX is they're up 4-2, and for the most part, it's been pretty clean. So hopefully it actually won't come to have too much impact. Is this the first time out of the series? I can't remember if VERTEX took one at all last game, and I was kind of wondering when they were going to, but Renegades will be the first ones to take a timeout here. We heard from Malta in that DreamHack Open interview about how Kingfisher has been having a great impact coaching the lads and helping add to their structure. Let's see if he's got any ideas.
Well, I can confirm for you that there was actually no timeout called by VERTEX on the last map. Got all the logs, and so this is actually the first timeout of the series, as you say. So that's a bit surprising. I didn't really think about it, but yeah, there was a few opportunities I think that a timeout wouldn't have gone astray in for VERTEX last map. Still, Renegades are going to take advantage of their time as much as possible. In for a little bit of a pistol buy, but nothing really behind it. So maybe the timeout was discussing more so what was going to happen in the next round when they get the guns again, rather than what they were going to do here.
Little boost up. Sicko on the other part of the half of the wood. Don't want to be in close quarters to a lot of these pistols, and there's actually a fair bit of Renegades players on the bomb side. There's 3 players over here. Molotov pushes Pico out of position though.
1 for 1. Probably take that if you're Renegades. Numbers are starting to move back in the direction of the A-bomb site though. Vertex not interested in B. That's as a result of Apoc Dud getting so much room to work with. But he hasn't cleared out Malta yet, and he hasn't seen the creep into Secret. So this Deagle could be put into good use. 1 shot already for him. In the meanwhile, Apoc Dud eventually locks down the rotate of the CTs. So it was a question of who was going to get more work done, and the answer eventually was Apoc Dud. So Vertex get the bomb plant down. Round as a result as well.
I'm happy with what I'm seeing, you know? Even if Vertex don't take this series away, this is the kind of performance that we want to see these guys put on in a big tournament like this. So I'm happy. It also fills me with more confidence if I'm going to see more of these rounds for Vertex, that even if they don't take this series away, they move on to that lower bracket. And you're feeling a little bit better about their odds. You know, this is a top 4 tournament. Some of the best our region has to offer. In the past, you might have said, you know, in some of those top 4 tournaments that the 4th team was not usually of good enough quality to really have any impact. I don't think that's really the case anymore.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And I think Vertex is showing why right now.
Well, I mean, Vertex has definitely done enough this year to really convince a lot of people that they do deserve to be in that top 4 position, in that top 4 discussion. And a map off of Renegades here would be another instance of that, another example of it.
Yep. Timeout here for Vertex while they're ahead. Just trying to evaluate the position that they're in and ensure that they're staying ahead. Try to anticipate what Renegades is going to do on one of these gun rounds. Sometimes good to take a bit of a pause, especially if you're, you know, a team like Vertex who, you know, I'd put my money on them having some preparation heading into this game to have watched some of those games for DreamHack Open. They're definitely a team that does their research. So, you know, as an IGL, as someone that's going deep in the demos, it definitely does help sometimes to just take a tack time out, have a chat about some of the tendencies, plan accordingly. 15, 20 seconds freeze time is often not enough time to get everybody 100% on the same page and just get things together.
What's going on right now in the server, Pilsky? That's the question I have. So technical for Vertex. So we might be waiting a little while. We'll have to see what happens here. Some concerns. Obviously, we're not privy to what's happening in the server, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, but something of that nature. Maybe not the worst of times, to be honest, for a pause to come through if you're a Renegades fan, because this is going to give them plenty of time to think about what they want to do in this gun round. A very important gun round for them, because the half is still salvageable here, Pilsky. You know, this is the crazy thing. It feels like Vertex has been on such a good run, but we are really only 7 rounds into the half.
Yeah.
And they can't really rest on their laurels just yet.
Yeah, Vertex has the space, though, to have a couple of, you know, resets. A little bit of room for error in that regard, even if Renegades finds a good answer in here. Vertex has still got the money to be able to take a round loss and recover. And I think in the current meta and current state of how the economy works in CS, if you're the T side and you're in this economic position, it's actually not always the worst thing in the world to be losing a couple of rounds to the CTs if you're able to take some guns off of them. You start to reduce their loss bonus, and then you can set yourself up for an even harder economic reset on that CT side and potentially put them on a double eco territory, or put them into this situation where their money never really does recover and they can't put together convincing buys where they have what you're seeing for Renegades. Double AWPs, full utility. That's where the game gets a lot more difficult.
Well, off we go into round number 8. 1-4 Renegades. They'll try to take some control in the mid, and they've had Sicko posted up on the line with the AWP down there already. Another AWP in play for Alistair on the CT side, so it's been a favourite of Renegades to go towards in the past couple of weeks that we've seen from them. Certainly can't blame them with the 2 AWPers they've got on their side.
Oh, no doubt. One of the strongest double AWPs in this region, if not the strongest. Not only in terms of their skill, but also in terms of the dynamics that they bring to the team. One aggressive, one more standard, and the aggressive one is going to find the opening pick, but nicely traded by Roffelco. VERTEX still controlling this round.
Yeah, they are. Brace is starting to creep out into mid as well, and he might well find a timing here from Pats or be caught on the timing. That was a unfortunate result for VERTEX, because if that would have gone their way, then the map is split in half and the round is fully open. PZ, though, does catch ins again. So it'll be Malta to hide away and try to bide his time and wait and see if he can get anything done here against VERTEX. It all comes down to timing. He's going to be checked here by PZ, and another instance of a Renegades player with a nade in hand at the most unfortunate time possible.
That's just such an unconventional play from PZ. He walks all the way up through that dig side, straight into secret. Oh, that's a lot of molly damage. That's going to make VERTEX's life a little bit harder. There's still a smoke for the retake. Sicko flashes in to create some more space.
PZ's got a great angle, though, to defend from, and that nade is going to soften the target up a little bit. PZ has had his opportunities, but he hasn't been able to hold on to them just yet. Molotov down, flash as well. Smoke on the bomb here from Mats, as well as a tap. And that's going to draw the peek through from PZ. But still, no kills for the CT side until Rocco eventually does fall. PZ, a rough one for him in the end. And the full 10-second defuse will be secured by Sicko, as well as the double AWP. Renegades through from that round. A bit touch and go, Pilski. But they've gotten it done.
Yeah. And Hats has a little bit of extra money compared to everyone else. So he's going to be able to bolster up the buy a little bit more. Another timeout in here for Renegades. This is what I was talking about. Money's still pretty solid, even after a full buy in here for VERTEX. So, you know, I was saying they have some room for error. They have some ability to reinvest here. And if you're continuing to have close rounds like Renegades did in that last one, where you only got 2 players surviving, hell, they might not have even taken that one across the line. That's where the window is still open for VERTEX to come in. And all they need, they don't even need multiple rounds in a row. They just need to keep them close and just win that one critical round at the right juncture, and that can break the CT's money and set themselves up for potentially even a stronger half than they might have had if they just continued picking up rounds and kept that loss bonus stacking up for the CT side.
A lot of ifs in that statement, Pilski, so everything has to go right. If that is going to be proven correct. And so far hasn't. Sicko able to chime in with an AWP shot early on in the round. It's not something that we've seen too much from Vertigo, to be honest. Normally the early stages of every round has been a little bit more passive. There hasn't been too much faster play from VERTEX on this T side. And we might not see too much of it following this round either, because it hasn't quite gone their way.
Double AWPs can mean that you're losing players early on in the round, but it's not just the AWPs. The M4's doing work as well. Hats and Malta both coming up the goods. Inns is in there with the utility. And there is just no inroads in this round for VERTEX at all. They've been shut clean out of it. PZ, he did great work in that last round. But if he's not able to convert a 1v2 situation, I dare say a 1v5 is a bridge too far.
Might be proven correct, Pilski, because he's taken down by Hats 4-5, and that is the round that Renegades has been looking for. The previous obviously was nice, but it was only 2 guns alive, even if both of them were the AWP. This one, 5 guns alive. Money starts to build up a little bit for the CT side. They can start to feel a bit more confident, and this is kind of the point at which we saw VERTEX kind of turning that first half around in Inferno, where they could play a little bit more freely, and they weren't as concerned about the economy. Maybe the same will be true for Renegades here on Vertigo.
It's an issue, right? Because, you know, if you want to contrast it to Vertigo, let me tell you, VERTEX, there was that round where they survived with 5 players, but it didn't happen regularly. Renegades, they survived with 5 players. Their money's looking great now, and initially, it doesn't look like there's too much success factor here for VERTEX to get some damage done. Let's see if that does end up going back the other way, but I'm looking at the positioning for Inns and Malta. Alistair doing great counter flash work.
Misses that AWP shot, but not going to make a mistake on the second chance he has on Roffelco. So in the end, should get through down. pretty much unscathed. Well done by Inns to win the 1-on-2. And the scoreline equalizes.
Yeah, forget everything I said. These rounds have not been close, these last couple. Renegades bolstering up their economy as we head into the later parts of this half. Still 5 rounds left to go, but Vertex, unfortunately, their job is not going to be easy. They got to try to trade whatever rounds they can at this point, because they're actually the ones who are kind of behind economically now.
Molotov right into the smoke. Not ideal. Not the end of the world though for Renegades, but here comes the push up ramp. Timing is not good at all for Alistair. Malta is going to be volleyed out of position. He gets the smoke down, and what a shot onto Roffelko. And he gets out alive. Malta has swindled him. I don't know how he's managed to do that.
100%. Absolute robbery being committed there. And he's going back in for a second run. Greedy, greedy Malta. Can't be happy with what he's come away with there. Definitely feeling the need to go more. Flash in from Sicko there. Always talk about his ability to be supportive on that AWP role and throw the appropriate utility, and he's actually made the rotation back towards the B side of the map. They're just going to leave Inns here behind the sandbag. Vertex cutting all sound, limiting the intimation of the CTs, and now they're going to start to walk back up ramp.
Yeah, but this is an area of the map that they've already cleared, so surely they're not expecting it. They're not going to check Inns, and he might well get 2. They've lined up. He decides to execute the bomb planter. Now his position is known, and he wasn't aware of PZ wrapping around behind, so it's definitely not as bad as it could have been for Vertex. Still, with 23 seconds, they have to get that bomb down. They send Brace forward. Pat's taking a bit of a duel. Addict will take him down. Sicko has no real option really here but to try and walk away with that AWP and keep it through to the next round. So you'd be breathing a sigh of relief if you're a Vertex supporter after seeing that one, because Inns well and truly could have gotten 2.
Yeah, I thought he was going to pull the trigger when they lined up. You know, I could hear you getting hype about it, but I guess maybe an opportunity missed in that regard. Actually don't really get the feeling that Inns is like 100% on his game today. He had a couple of like uncharacteristic like sloppiness on Inferno. Kind of ludicrous to say, because like even like this is like probably Inns's like C game or something, and it's still better than like 90% of people in those. Probably more, to be honest.
Well, it's not enough to break the economy of Renegades that round.
No.
They also get the double AWP out again, so they were filthy rich before that.
All those players, all those rounds with 5 players around, alive. What was it, 2 in a row? Well about. Ooh, awkward. Malta and Apoc are just gonna chuck each other some nades. Apoc been having a good series for himself. It's good to see him back in this form. I don't think I've seen him play this confidently and look this impactful on a rifle since he was on that Chiefs roster, and we had a couple of those Big Dust 2 games and big one-map performances from man. Oh, hold on, Vertex.
Oh.
Straight into A there.
1 for Malta. He's got the info there. The nades are going to start to get thrown in by Renegades as well. What's happening here for Vertex? I thought they might be slowing things down, but it does eventually look like they'll start to pick up the pace into the bomb site itself. PZ putting the bomb on the floor, and now Renegades will have to show us what they can do with a 4-on-4 retake.
Sicko's trying to light up the wallbang, and he just keeps getting blocked, or it's not quite the right positioning, not quite the right angle. Brace locked into this sandbag position. Vertex, you're seeing counter flashes for both one of these squads, but the AWP starting to find some picks on the exit.
Sicko's got himself a double. That means numbers advantage for Renegades. Smoke in the back pocket of Pats. Someone's tossed one onto the bomb, and Inns wins a duel against Attic, which almost assures the round now for Renegades. Brace had to deal with the first player boosted up on top of the boxes. That was Hats, and he couldn't do that, so no chance of stopping the defuse. 6 apiece as the half continues to really be tit for tat.
Ooh. What do you do if you're Vertex here? Money is kind of weird across the board. They're going to buy up, try to put something together. 2 AKs on the books, 1 AWP, a MAC-10, and a techie. That's a mixed bag of lollies, if you ask me. Now, Renegades, once again, with a bit of money behind them, could potentially reset that T-side economy, and then we're really talking about minimum 8, maybe a 9-6 half. But let's see what Vertex can do with this scuff buy.
Malta's been really loving this ramp push, hasn't he? Sometimes on the scaffolding side, sometimes on the ramp itself.
Him and Apoc have just been playing around. Oh my god.
He's gotten out of there on the timing, but he's the only one on the A bomb site right now. Renegades think there's something happening over at B, and they would be pretty incorrect in that assumption at the moment.
Yeah. I don't think we even saw that much utility being committed over there, really. Like, Vertex, maybe a little bit. Molotov on the sandbags is a bit of a tell that this is coming back around to the A side of the map. So, Alistair going to join up with Malta. Smoke to the front side of the crane. Trying to disrupt this push. You're seeing all this disruptive utility coming in for the CT side, trying to disincentivize Vertex for going for this push towards A. And in the meanwhile, PZ's lost his life and the AWP on the other side of the map.
Yeah, Renegades have heard a bit more util over toward the A bomb site now, and with that, surely they start to cotton onto the fact that this is going to be a bit more of a push toward, well, I was going to say A, but it seems like it might well actually be B. Once again, Vertex are just on the rotate out, and Apoc Dud is about to walk up ramp for free. They haven't spotted him. Decent trade by Ins, but it's a 1-for-1.
Oh, walk through middle, Sicko. I'm looking at Sicko and Hats and their positioning. If they're going to be on the right line at the right time, Sicko caught unawares, but he won't lose his life, and In's getting a lot of damage from his smoke. 7 seconds, Jordan.
They're not going to get the bomb plant down now, Pilski. Bomb has been dropped. Hats is going to have to hide behind the pillar. Brace tries to chase him down, and he can't. He dies after time. Oh, dear.
Ah, they've just left it too late. And you were right to be confused. You know, you're looking at Apoc Dud creeping up a ramp on that timing. If In swung in from the site, if Vertex had 2 more players behind Apoc Dud there, we're talking about a round, but insanity for them to run the clock down that low. I mean, they barely got away with it on that round on Inferno, and they won't be able to come away with that same luck this time around. Quick one straight through middle, though.
So Ins has a lot of work to do, and he does it relatively well. So much damage, and it's cleaned up by Hats and Malta. So a heart-stopping moment for a second there for Renegades. When they lose Sicko and you see Ins just peek out from behind the sandbags, there's like 4 players looking in his direction. But he survives long enough to get 2 kills and a bunch more damage, and so Renegades react quickly enough that they bring up 8, and with 1 round left in the half, now Vertex are going to try to fight for that 7th, but ultimately they won't be able to get the advantage heading into the second, and I think that's disappointing for them based on how the start of this half went.
Yeah, I'd agree. Renegades definitely came in and did the hard yards. Winning a couple of those rounds pretty cleanly. Apoc died again. Trying to apply pressure to Scaffold. It's always him and Malta how these rounds start, and this time he's going to start it right for Vertex.
Dud has been a massive success tonight for Vertex. But Alistair, oh, never mind. He's not even going to get the chance to fire a shot. Apoc Dud does not care. He's just going to send it on his own. He's going to win the round on his own. He doesn't need teammates, and nor does Sicko, apparently, who's just going to go straight through the smoke. Hero play from Sicko, but he's got a lot more to do. Roffelko will try to chase him down. No problems there at all. 8-7 at the end of the half, Pilski. I'm not sure which way that really leads me to believe this map is going to go. But at least Vertigo have been putting in a better showing than what we saw on Inferno. Kicking off the second half here for Renegades and Vertex. It's an 8-7 initially in that first half. Renegades getting the advantage, of course, but not by a large margin, Pilski. So maybe there is something to be said for Vertex on this map. They certainly looked good from the outset, but Renegades, as ever, are going to be a team that can grind away rounds in a half and bring it back to something that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is a bit more what I expected out of the series between Renegades and Vertex. Seeing a couple of things go well for Vertex, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee them a series or a map victory. Counter flash in from Apokdad. No doubt you want to be setting this man up for success. He has been one of the main people on Vertex finding impact, but unfortunately, they're going to have to get through this round without him.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough ask indeed. Sicko hits a nice one with the P250. The majority of Renegades' forces is assembled at the bottom of ramp. Sicko's been left to his own devices in mid to see what kind of havoc he can cause, while the rest creep their way up to A. Brace, with a full belt of util pretty much, is hiding behind the sandbags, which is going to be a little bit awkward if he's found out, because that's all of that util put to absolutely no use at all. Renegades, as of yet, haven't checked it, but surely they're not the kind of team to imagine that this is going to be clean when it is not, and Inns does the due diligence inevitably for Renegades. So it's an unfortunate result for Vertex. So I think with that kill, they pretty much just lose the round.
Yeah. Not seeing any kits, so they essentially have to get a whole lot of frags and get on the defuse pretty quickly here. Time up already starting to tick down, and a Molotov going to start to segment the push, make it very difficult for the retake to be converted there for Addict. Sicko has actually got ring around the Rosie all the way back through middle, kind of faked the fallback and then went for the push instead. Vertex kind of falling by the wayside at this point. Rocco, 3 HP in a dream. But he's been put to bed if we're going to continue with that analogy. And Renegades are going to pick up their 9th.
Yeah, 9-7. Not a bad way to start the half off. Vertex, though, will have the luxury of buying into this round with some pistols and armor and the scout as well. And they've got a lot of time to work with in this half. You know, it doesn't have to be here and now. It can be a slow build from Vertex as long as it happens at some point that they start to put rounds together. They're still in with a chance. Nice nade lands right at the feet of Brace, so he'll cop 50% of his HP from the outset.
Yeah. Trying to get some work here, Vertex, with this force bite. PZ with a bit of extra money for that all. Renegades applying pressure to that B side of the map. A lot of utility heading over there, and it's actually pulling some rotates. But in the meanwhile, Renegades, well, I was going to say going to take some space towards ramp, but even yet, they still haven't really made any progress in that regard. He's doing a great job just controlling there.
Well, already one pick for Renegades.
Ooh.
But an answering one for PZ. Through a wall, had shot onto Alistair by the looks of things. Addict's in a great spot to deal with Malta if he doesn't check the corner, but of course he does. Down on 19 HP though, Malta is going to be feeling a little worse for wear, so he'll just back out of his position on B after causing a little bit of a ruckus and leave the rest of the job to the other remaining Renegades players, if possible. Inns answers the call well. He'll check the sandbags too. Not really leaving too much to chance, though the smoke will go down a little bit too late to save Inns' life. Apokdad still continues to look sharp, regardless of what gun is in his hands. Bomb plant secured. Go with the MP5, a very long spray down. Can't quite get it done onto both. Hats, though, will find the trade, and Renegades get up to 10.
Oh my god, Apokdad was connecting so many shots that round. If the Deagle RNG goes his way, then he's only got a low HP Malta left alive in that round, and
yeah,
he could have put the pieces together. Unfortunate though. Renegades going to continue on a good streak, not without sustaining some losses, but this is where Vertex, nothing to really offer us in this round. Full USPs across the board. Not really a team to overinvest.
Go, big spam. Oh, you love to see that. Lots of money for the AWPer. Inns comes in to take a couple as well. And Sicko trying to pick the pace up into mid. Won't find too much success there. But hey, that's a round that Renegades will be pretty happy with. And again, you know, I say for the AWPer.
Yeah.
It's kind of catching me off a few
No,
times
I did the same thing in DreamHack, if you remember.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Vertex. First gun round. AWP's out. Full util. 2 kids. They've got everything that they could want. You got a couple of Galils and a Mac 10 for Renegades. Very doable. Look at how this round's starting. Seems like Renegade's looking for pressure towards stairs more than anything. Not going for scaffold control. Addict's going to cop a lot of damage from that HE grenade. Oh, the flash wasn't actually that good, but it's not going to matter too much.
Apparently Addict is pretty good, although he is going to be put in his place by Alistair. And the game slows down a little bit. 4 on 4. Feels like the eye of the storm for this round.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering where Renegades is going with this. Seemed like they were heading back towards ramp. Malta has just done such a good job being a pest towards B. All by himself, he's just creating so much pressure. He's finding picks. Renegade's now starting to walk through middle. Brace might get caught on the timing. He wants to hang around, but even in this position, can he double up? It was a difficult prospect, but he's passed the test, and in the meanwhile, PZ's connected onto that player towards stairs. Okay, Brace. Maybe a bit overconfident, especially with In still in the server.
Yeah, that said, this round has seemed to have slipped away a little bit from Renegades. 16 and 12 for Inza. Hasn't been the worst of maps for him, but certainly hasn't been his best. He's going to spot out PZ, but not before he loses his life. And we'll see Vertex grab their first round on the CT side.
With 2 alive. So, both teams' money pretty fragile. Can Renegades secure themselves a economic reset on the CTs and potentially set themselves up for 13? And from that position, there is really very little room for Vertex. Potentially 1 gun round's error. Or can Vertex start to close this scoreline deficit a little bit? They win this round, they could be pushing up into the double digits.
Not a bad start to the round. Hats goes down early on in the piece. The flash from Roffelko, or for Roffelko, wasn't exactly ideal, but he'll get away with his life at least.
PZ's been pretty goods on the ult tonight. Once again, proving why. Set up towards Secret now. Renegades, a little bit of ramp control. Doesn't really look like they've been putting very much premium over towards Scaffold or towards ramp, to be honest. They've been kind of leaving it for the mid to late round to take control of this part of the map.
Have they left it too little too late this time? Still a lot of Molotovs in play for Vertex. A few smokes there as well. They've got a couple of players over on A. And there really isn't that much in that department for Renegades. A smoke, a flash, and a molly is all they've got to get them into this bomb site. So, have to make the creep up. Alistair gets chucked the smoke and the molly. To be Sicko to enter the bomb site first, I'd say. He's going to be the man on the entry duties. Not quite going to go his way. PZ looking sharp with the AWP on the CT side. Ins, however, needs to find another one. It's Alistair to bail him out of trouble, and we're back to 3 on 3. Ali with the AWP in hand. Perfect angle to play from. That goes down, and Ins takes the challenge against Brace. He'll win the duel. And you have to think, Roffelko, well, he might be good for one from behind here, but Malta's watching. And Renegades comfortably win the round in the end.
That puts a lot of pressure on Vertex. Economic reset, they've got to take a save. Then it's going to be 13s up for the Renegades. That's where you're on the comeback train on the CT side. It has been a bit of a nightmare in this current edition of CS, the way the economy goes, to be coming back on that CT side. You have to... Oh, that's the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen Sicko mess that nade up, so... Maybe one for the reviews.
Coach Pilsky might have to get in there and learn him a thing or two.
Well, the thing is, like... You know, Sicko, I guess, is used to being in that AWPing role, but right now he's kind of controlling middle, so... These are the kind of things that... They're small details, but actually, you know... If you haven't had to perform that role for a very large portion of your career, the entire time that this map's been out.
Fair enough. Just going to have a few to have a bit of practice on here. Big charge in from Vertex is going to eventually overwhelm Sicko. And they get themselves an AK, but with that information, Renegades will make their way quite comfortably into the B bomb site. Molotov onto the jump up. Vertex has only one way into B. They're not really going to want to get in there anyway. I think the AK on Roffelko is just going to be saved through to the next round, while Brace and his compatriot Addict try to save as much as they can out of this round, see if they can find 1 or 2 picks to find an AK or something like that. Chances seem quite slim at this point, though.
All the angles locked down nicely by Renegades. A pretty clean gun round for them to be winning, but they're running into where they buy guns. Hold on, Rufflecoat. What have you got for us?
Terrorists win.
It's not even going to take a duel. Come on. Oh, you could have taxed him a gun or two, surely.
Mate, the man's just come out of surgery. He's been asleep for 12 hours.
He should be feeling well rested then.
Maybe you're right.
I won't give him a hard time. I won't give him a
This
hard
is why no one wants to be on Pilski's teams.
No excuses. What's that? You just went through a major surgery? Nah. Minimum 40 from you, mate.
Minimum 40.
Well, you're gone.
Otherwise, you're off the team. Bad luck, Roffelko. I guess you'll be LFT after this one. 13-8. Renegades are... you know, I feel like it's been a rather slow half. It hasn't been like anything fancy or anything like that, really.
Well,
But they've kind of quietly got their way to 13.
that was a lot of the DreamHack games, you know.
Another opening frag for Renegades. This time it's Hats doing that duty. You'll see the smoke go onto the Molotov. So Roffelko find his way creeping onto the bomb site. Hats doing a bit too good of a job on the entry, though. And Addict will try to salvage things from his position behind the generator. He's already gotten the one onto Hats, but definitely needs another one to buy some space for that rotation, and just can't quite get it. So Vertex will shuffle their way back out of the B bomb site
Bomb has been planted.
and try to save their guns again. 14 will be on the board for Renegades. Slowly but surely, Renegades, you know, getting one step closer after another.
Yeah, it's looked like a good night at the office for them. You know, tested hit a couple of rounds, but by and large, they've looked solid. Not their absolute A game or anything like that, but fundamentally sound and good enough to be closing out this series for sure. It's great movement from Alistair, didn't he? I don't think I've even seen someone hop up onto that dumpster from that angle very often.
Terrorists win.
Doesn't look like a very fun time on that construction site, Pilski.
No.
Not even allowed tank tops or shorts.
I'm pretty sure that notice disqualifies like 90% of Aussie tradies. No tank tops or shorts, no drugs or alcohol on the job.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing Sponge never had to play on Vertigo then.
No music. Oh, come on, mate. Okay. There's control in here for Vertex. And it hasn't started well. This has been Renegades finding the opening pick. What is that, 2 or 3 times in a row?
Yeah, a few I think I'll go with. Solon said he wins the race seems to be the mantra for Renegades.
Yeah,
They haven't really tried anything fast at all this half.
not towards ramp, which is interesting.
Oh.
Okay, I think PZ's been robbed by Gabe right there. But unfortunate. It happens.
Oh, Dud's going to try and line something up, and he actually does a good job of it. Alistair will lose his head. Inns needs to win this duel now, but against Apok Dud, in this kind of form, I'm not backing him. Apok Dud's an absolute machine tonight. It seems like he's just taken to this rifle and destroyed everyone. Eventually, Malta will get the better of him through the smoke, and that kind of opens the bomb site up enough for Renegades that they can get the plant down.
Need to try to injure up that planter as Renegades starting to fall away towards this retake wall. Roffelko didn't have a good timing on the flank. Maybe this time he's going to be a little bit more fortunate.
Still watching for it. He has pulled an 8 out, though, at the most inopportune time. He won't be very happy by that. Hats pegs one back and then almost goes one better. Gives enough over to Sicko to put the round in the favor of Renegades. Once again, it's a one-on-one. Roffelko making so much noise. Wasn't expecting Sicko close by the boxes. And 15 is on the board for Renegades. It is match point. It is series point. And they're looking to head further on in the upper bracket.
I actually love that from Sicko. Small detail. You know, he makes the sound to fall away on towards that connector angle. But if you think about it, that's not even a favorable duel if you head back in towards middle there, really, for the T. Because the CT's swinging from that site with the boxes for cover. Maybe a bit of peek is advantage as well. Pretty heads up in a large variety of situations to just tap it, to just fake running away and sit behind the boxes. I like that. Either way, this is all that Vertex have left. Brace. Oh my god. Deleted.
Yeah, he was on a pretty decent angle with that Deagle. Could have definitely found one, but In's a bit too sharp this time. And Renegades will start to rampage their way into the bomb site. Addict is not feeling too healthy after that spam through the smoke, and Sicko will put an end to his misery. Seems like that is going to be where Vertigo is headed as well. 15 very quickly, looking like it'll turn to 16. Another one from Inns in this round. He's been opening up the bomb site quite nicely. 3 kills already. He's put to a stop by PZ, but a 1-on-3 with the AWP trying to retake the bomb site with only such little time to play with. It just ain't gonna happen.